Crowned the 87th NAIA Men's Basketball National Champion. Catch all the excitement as single-day tickets start at just $25. For tickets and championship information, go to NAIAHoops.com today. The NAIA Men's Basketball National Championship, for the love of basketball.
Enjoy the beauty and the inspiration at the Yoder-Built Home and Flower Show, February 28th through March 2nd at Bartle Hall. Enjoy an immersive butterfly exhibit, beautiful floral displays, spectacular puppy pal performances, free antique appraisals, and more. Enter to win great prizes, including a backyard giveaway and custom container home. Stop by your Casey area Hy-Vee to grab your free Friday or Sunday admission ticket to the show. Limit 2, the Yoder-Built Home and Flower Show, February 28th through March 2nd at Bartle Hall. See CaseyMoHomeShow.com for more info.
Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
KCFX HD4 Harrisonville, K279BI Kansas City, 103.7 FM. Sports Radio 810 WHB, Kansas City.
America's largest all-sports radio station presents the number one motorsports show for over 2 decades, Track Talk, brought to you by Rod End Supply and the Power Ride Midwest Lightning Sprints. Here are the racing boys, Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Welcome, everyone, to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. We can't thank you enough for joining the show today. How you doing, Kirk?
I'm doing good. We got to see a few races last night, which, you get to the 1st of March. You feel like winter is getting behind us. Let's hope so. And, a weekend ago when we were here, we didn't have much to talk about from the Friday night portion, but starting to get a few more races to talk about. So watched a couple of them last night. So, yeah. Is spring, when you get to the 1st of March, does that mean spring is here? Let's hope so.
I watched Racing Dirt last night.
Did
you watch that?
USMTS Modifieds opened up their season at Heart of Texas Speedway in Waco. And big night for Jim Chisholm, who is the defending USMTS champion, kind of picking up where he left off a year ago by winning the championship. Got a little different look to his race car, a little darker color, the number 24 car, but
he made the pass on the outside.
Well, he was, he came from the 7th starting spot,
right,
to win, but he held off Rodney Sanders at the end. Looked like Sanders might have had a shot at him coming off the 4th turn, but the bottom was where to be, and Jim Chisholm was able to lock down right at the bottom of the racetrack and hang on to victory over Rodney Sanders, Tanner Mullins, Joe Chisholm, that's Jim's brother, and Kyle Strickler finishing in the top 5. So watched some modified racing last night. There was a couple of late model races last night too, Scott, but I didn't see those. Springfield Raceway, which is right down the road, about 3 hours, had what they called the Randy Mooneyham Ken Essery Tribute Race. And Brian Shirley comes through with the feature victory last night down at Springfield. And how about Matt Covington's big win last night?
Right.
USCS at Hattiesburg, Tennessee, or that's Hattiesburg, Mississippi, I should say. And Matt Covington coming through with the win. He's been doing a lot of racing here lately. He stayed around after Florida and just followed the USCS while some of the other regular ASCS drivers came home. Matt Covington stayed out on the road.
Right.
He started up front and sailed to victory over Davey Franick and Jason Martin. Now, Jason Martin's an ASCS regular, too. He finished third. Terry McCarl was fourth. And Max Stanball rounds out the top five down at Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Didn't see that race either. We couldn't find video of that. So if you're listening and you know a video of the USCS in Mississippi, let us know. We couldn't find it.
We couldn't find it.
So those are just some of the highlights of some of the action last night. Chris Madden wins the Southern Nationals race down at Swainsboro, Georgia. And that's it for dirt track racing. NASCAR's down at the road course at COTA. They call it Circuit of the Americas this weekend. So we'll talk a little bit about that on today's show.
Well, let's talk about Stormy Scott picking up the win up at Webster City, Iowa. How about that?
I didn't see that. I missed that one.
You missed it?
I missed that. Tell us about it.
You posted a story up about it.
Now that was that's a story that Stormy Scott is going to be racing USMTS, and he is that's a story about Stormy Scott's going to be racing some USMTS races, kind of making a return to USMTS. So that's what that was about. So Stormy Scott and Johnny Scott used to be mainstays on the USMTS tour.
Kirk, you posted up a story about that.
Scott returning to modified routes with USMTS Arms. That's just a story about him. He's going to be racing at the King of America, which is now going to be at Lucas Oil Speedway coming up at the end of March, and just some of his upcoming events. So that's what that story was all about. So there you go.
All right.
So got some sad news to report this morning. A week from today, we're going to be at the Carb Hall of Fame banquet.
I'm not going to be there.
That's going to be, I'm going to be emceeing that again this year. Honored to do so. But we got the news that Vernie Covert, who was was the 2024 class, was an inductee to be going into the Hall of Fame, unfortunately passed away on, I think it was Thursday night. According to Ray Cunningham, who's also going to be going into the Hall of Fame, suffered a fall and unfortunately passed away. Our thoughts and prayers go out to Vernie Covert and his family.
So how did he fall, Kurt?
I'm not sure what the details of that were. But anyway, that's very sad to hear that. Was looking forward to seeing Vernie at the Hall of Fame banquet next week. So I just want to put out our thoughts and prayers to Vernie's family. The other inductees that are going to be going in are Charlie Benedict, Donald Connor, Ray Cunningham, as we pointed out, Bob Douglas, our good friend, Rod End Supply, will be going in. J.D. Green, Rick Howard, Dave Rupard, and Pioneer Pat Cunningham. And I understand tickets are still available. If you're interested, call Brian Jackson, 816-916-4448 for tickets, 816-916-4448. The program gets started at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The doors open at 3. It'll be at the George Mayan Community Center, not too far from Kansas Speedway out in Bonner Springs. So looking forward to the Central Auto Racing Boosters Hall of Fame Awards Banquet. Will be coming up a week from today.
So what's going on with you're going to MC that again?
Yep. Yeah, you can come.
I'm not going.
You got other plans.
I got other plans.
We got a couple of good guests coming on the show, don't we?
Right, we got Ricky Thornton Jr. and Kyle Cummins.
We spoke with both those guys on Monday's Mostly Motorsports show. If you missed that, you'll be able to hear those guys again. Ricky Thornton Jr., of course, everybody knows who he is. He is one of the top late model drivers in the country, coming off his Lucas Oil Late Model Championship last year. and he's not sure where he's going to be going for the championship this year. They've not made that decision whether they're going to try to defend the Lucas Oil Championship or go World of Outlaw racing. So you'll hear Ricky Thornton Jr.'s interview coming up here in just a little bit. And Kyle Cummins, who won the Winter Dirt Games Championship down in Florida for the USAC non-wing sprint cars, will also be joining us here on today's show.
He's a hell of a driver.
Great driver.
Great driver.
So a couple of pretty good you won't hear all those interviews. If you want to hear him in full, we've got them on our podcast. Go to racingvoice.com and you can hear, but you'll hear highlights of both these guys coming up here in just a little bit.
You need to go to the Mostly Motorsports logo.
Yep.
And click on it, and you'll find the full interviews on there.
They'll be there.
Right.
So got that coming up. What did you think of Atlanta Motor Speedway last weekend? What'd you think of that race?
Well, I thought that I was really rooting for Christopher Bell to
and he
win.
won.
He won that race.
How about that?
Hey, but
our picks didn't do too well though.
What did we pick? Did I pick Logano?
Who did I pick, Todd? Do you remember?
Kirk had Bush and Ross Chastain. Scott had Logano and Bush, and I had Elliott and Blaney. Blaney did all right, but we had a 1-2. We picked our favorite and then a backup in case something should happen. So
are we among the few that revisit what our picks were? Because most people make picks, they just want you to forget about it and move on.
Yeah,
we go back and say when we're wrong, right?
Absolutely. And matter of fact, this year I went ahead and made us a cheat sheet. You can see it here on
just
our
to
screen.
see what kind of a record we'll
and
have.
So
right?
Carson Hoverser
the whole year.
He didn't make any friends out there on the racetrack, did he?
Well, he's was he the Rookie of the Year last year in Cup? Pretty talented drivers, but isn't that what young drivers do? We're going to
make a little mistake.
The veterans not very happy.
Yeah, they didn't. It wasn't like they went over and knocked him down or anything. I mean, they just went over and talked to him.
You know, I always root against Kyle Larson. Do you know that?
I know you do, because what are you tired of him winning all the time?
Tired of him winning all the time. He won the Chili Bowl, and what else did he win, Kurt?
We won the Knoxville Nationals last year. He won that big high-money, high-limit race out in Perth, Australia. He's won a lot of races.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. had a pretty good run as well. He ended up running 5th.
Kyle Larson's in the top 5 rated this week.
Larson finished 3rd.
Yeah, Larson's in the top 5 for betting this week for COTA. So, I mean, he's still in the Shane Van Ginsberg is your number 1. Here, I got the
Shane Van Gisbergen.
Yeah, here's your odds right here.
Yeah.
Tyler Reddick, which is kind of, Connor Zilic, which is kind of strange. You know, as a rookie, he's the second highest betting favorite right now.
I don't understand that.
I think it's because he's a teammate of Shane, right? So that's probably, I'm sure they've been working together, and that's where that number's coming from.
Where do you get those odds?
I got that off of sportsbet.com last night.
You did?
Yeah, pulled them up off of a website.
They got Connor Zilic, who's never has he even run a Cup race before.
I'm just telling you, they've got him in there, and I read the reasons.
Well, you know why they're picking him, because you remember he won that Xfinity race at Watkins Glen last year.
And he's teammates with Shane.
They're running in Austin this weekend, aren't they, on the road course?
Circuit of the Americas.
The
Tyler
COTA.
Reddick, he's a former winner there.
Yep. And then you got Larson and Bell right there, and then Kyle Busch is I just picked the top 12.
Well, Reddick won 2 years ago, and William Byron is the defending winner of the race. Now, it's a shortened course at COTA this year.
Yes, sir.
They've taken out they've shortened it
Took
up
out
a
that
little
chicane
bit.
part of there, that little. But like you said, when I saw those odds, that's the reason why I printed that out, was just because when I saw the fact that Zilic was actually up there ahead of a lot of these guys who won already, I just thought that was kind of interesting. So might be something to, if you're a betting man, you got your ESPN bet app or whatever it is, and you want to go up and make a bet, that might not be a bad bet to place somebody again. I mean, he's picked 6. I mean, you're not getting much from him, but Kyle Busch, that's a pretty good bet to make right there, my friend. Getting 22 on that.
He's not won at COTA yet.
No, but he had a good race last week. I think he's starting to feel like he's, I don't know.
He got split by Hosebar.
Yeah,
there at the end.
He
Looked
did.
like Larson had a chance to win that race. It looked like it was going to be between Bell and Larson.
Absolutely.
But Hosebar went up there and got us and out. Just finished right ahead of Kyle Larson.
I'm going to have a hard time still picking against Chase Elliott. I'm still on the Elliott bandwagon until
he won that first race at COTA when it rained
absolutely.
the whole day. Remember that?
I do remember that. So he might be my
pick.
But
he's not done well in the road courses in this new car.
Nope, has not.
So we'll see how he does. Well, anyway, practice and qualifying at 10 o'clock this morning. You can watch that on Prime Video. They've got the Xfinity race at 1:30 this afternoon on the CW Network, and then tomorrow is the Cup race, and that'll be on Fox at 2:30 tomorrow afternoon. So that's scheduled at Circuit of the Americas.
Did you think that Bubba Wallace had a chance to win that race?
Yeah, he had a good car.
He did. He ended up running
what, the 7th, or I can't remember what it was.
He ended up running 9th.
9th.
Right.
Bubba Wallace has 2 career wins in the Cup Series. One of them at Kansas Speedway.
Yeah, he had a good
The other
run.
one at Talladega.
That run at Kansas, he was pretty dominating that day. That was a pretty good run.
My pick of Joey Logano ended up running 12th.
Yeah, all of our guys were there. It's just
Joey Logano just couldn't make it through the pack.
Today's race will be after we get through this road course. It kind of seems like then we get into the real NASCAR season. These first few races are kind of like one-offs. Atlanta was the real deal. But
hey, Todd, Chase Elliott ended up running 20th.
Yeah, he had something wrong. He had issues.
He had a fast car. Did he get involved in a wreck?
Yeah, he did. He got caught up in one of those and then came back. He was actually a lap down, got his lap back, and so I thought he was coming back through this thing. But
there was a lot of wrecks in that race, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was some pretty good carnage in there.
Well, that new configuration that they have at Atlanta the last 3 years is that's developed some pretty exciting action out on the racetrack, shall we say. That's they did a good job of reconfiguring that racetrack to it's putting a few more people in the stands at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Right.
Pretty exciting to watch. Where did Busch ended up? I picked him. I was trying to see where he ended up in that race. Yeah, I thought he had a fast enough race car, but he had a problem. He got caught up in an incident too, did he not?
He ended up running 7th, Kirk.
He still got a good finish out.
Yeah, because he was there in up there messing around the top, and I think during that big one melee. But you're right. I thought when I saw him up there, I thought he might be the guy that was probably going to win this.
He
thing,
won the truck race.
Yeah,
last
he did.
weekend.
Well, that was another thing. When I saw him win that truck race, I thought, uh-oh. Sundays, he's probably going to win this because a lot of times when he does really well on a truck race,
in a truck race, he ends up winning on the
or
the
at least in the top 5. I mean,
right.
So that was my thought when I saw that truck race, which was a pretty good race too. That truck race was a pretty good race. I watched.
Been a while since Kyle Busch has won a Cup race. He went all of last year without winning at all.
I like the CW, to be honest with you, Kirk. I like that.
Their production is
their
good.
production is actually pretty darn good. And,
my complaint about the CW network, though, is they don't put the full races up on their app.
Oh, yeah.
When I was up at the
heard
farm
about that.
last weekend, I don't have where I can dial in the CW network on a cable, I don't understand why don't they have the full race on their app?
You need to get you some rabbit ears, Kirk, for an old TV. I've got.
Yeah, but when I'm in the farm 90 miles out of Des Moines, I wonder what the reception would be like.
You might still be able to pick it up with those digital antennas.
No doubt.
You might give it a try anyway.
We used to have, I grew up in that house, and you had to have the big antenna on the top of the house, and even then,
had a hard
when
time.
you tried to pull channels out of Omaha or Des Moines, it was kind of a snowy picture.
You might
back in the old days.
You could buy you one of those things for like $20 and take it up there and try it. And if it doesn't work, you can just take it back.
But I got frustrated last week. I wanted to watch the end of that Xfinity race, and I tried to dial it up on the CW app, and they didn't. Had said you got to watch the broadcast network to see the full race. We'll put the replay up tomorrow. And I said, what is that all about?
Right.
You know, they should have it on their app.
Well, we're going to take a break real quick here on Track Talk. Hey, to be honest with you, I've got some drones flying over my house. Do you know that? Drones.
You don't know where they're coming from?
We don't know where they're coming from, but there's 3 of them.
Do you think it has anything to do with your proximity to the airport?
I think it does, because the downtown airport, they fly over that all the time.
Yeah, you're not supposed to fly drones over the airport.
Do you feel as though you're being spied upon?
Well, I feel like that when I'm out in the hot tub.
And you see, you're sitting in your hot tub and you see the drones flying around.
Right.
Well, I wouldn't worry about it at that point. If they want to take a look at Scott in a hot tub, then
right,
more power to them, right?
Well, I'm more worried about Deidre getting in the hot tub.
Yeah, but I mean, come on, I can't imagine them seeing anything worth.
I'm sure it'll be okay.
Yeah, you can plant you some trees.
All right, just do that. Just plant some trees, Todd.
Gonna have to plant some trees.
So we're gonna hear from Ricky Thornton Jr. coming up, right?
Right. That's what's coming up next here on Track Talk. We appreciate you tuning in, and we can't thank you enough for doing so. And Ricky Thornton Jr. joins us next right here on Track Talk. It's all brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. We'll be back in a moment. Stay tuned.
Track Talk. Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Jeff Montgomery here. If
2 minutes, gentlemen, 2 minutes.
Trips to the bathroom at night or a weak urine stream, do what I did and call Miva Medical. Their new cutting-edge non-surgical procedure eliminated my symptoms. Board-certified Dr. Brown is very professional, knowledgeable, and helped put all of my worries at ease. As Kansas City's leaders in minimally invasive non-surgical treatments, I trusted Miva Medical and Dr. Brown to help me. If you're experiencing these symptoms, go to miva-medical.com. That's MIVA-medical.com.
Enjoy the beauty and the inspiration at the Yoder-Built Home and Flower Show, February 28th through March 2nd at Bartle Hall. Enjoy an immersive butterfly exhibit, beautiful floral displays, spectacular puppy pal performances, free antique appraisals, and more. Enter to win great prizes, including a backyard giveaway and custom container home. Stop by your Casey area Hy-Vee to grab your free Friday or Sunday admission ticket to the show. Limit 2, the Yoder-Built Home and Flower Show, February 28th through March 2nd at Bartle Hall. See CaseyMoHomeShow.com for more info.
ICON is seeking healthy, non-smoking men and women 18 to 55 years old to participate in a clinical research study at our facility in Lenexa, Kansas. Women must be of non-childbearing potential. Volunteers must be available for up to 2 stays totaling 11 nights and 16 outpatient visits. Qualified participants may receive compensation up to $27,700 for time and travel. Call ICON today at 913-210-5900. That's 913-210-5900.
30 seconds.
Prime time on ESPN Radio. It's a showdown in Philadelphia.
Maxey, deep three straight away, smoked it.
Paul George and the 76ers go head-to-head with Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, and the Golden State Warriors.
Curry with one, hits it at the buzzer.
The Warriors at the 76ers on NBA Saturday Prime Time. Tip-off at 8:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ABC. Presented by Indeed.
Kansas City's home of the NBA. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Welcome back to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. It's all brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. We had a chance to talk to Ricky Thornton Jr. on Monday on Mostly Motorsports, and this is a portion of that interview. We're going to play it right now here on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Well, you're off to a great start so far this year. You just picked up the Gator for the World of Outlaws. You won some races the early part of the season with the Lucas Oil Late Model Series. Man, it's been quite a ride here over the last year, hasn't it? Changed rides, not your decision that happened, but you kept right on going with Kohler Motorsports. How did this all come together with Kohler after you got the call you were no longer in the SSI car?
Pretty much, Steve Hartman actually put us together, and I'd say it's probably been one of the best things that's probably happened to me. Honestly, we since going over there, obviously Bobby and Jessica Kohler have been great to work with, and they've pretty much given us whatever we need to go out and win. So just overall, it's been good. They're super family oriented, so it kind of fits how I want to be at the same time too. Like we can go out and race really hard, or we can kind of hang out and at the end of the day, I'll make sure as long as everybody's happy, we're having a good time.
You picked up the big Gator down there at Volusia. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, obviously, we went to Volusia for Sunshine Nationals, and we were atrocious, honestly. We one night we wrecked the car, and the other night we ran 19th. So not exactly how we wanted to start, but luckily between that and the Dirt Car Gator Nationals, there's a lot of Lucas races, so we ran a bunch of those. Got to go to Volusia, and we unloaded really good there, and really I don't think we qualified outside the top 5, and really the way kind of our sport's going, qualifying means about everything. So we were able to start up front in all of our heat races. I think we won 4 or 5 heat races, and put ourselves in good position for the future, and was able to kind of capitalize on it. And we picked up 2 wins. Should have been 3 or 4, I think, but had the driver not kind of screwed up a few times. But overall, it was just a really great week for us, and a really good start to the year.
Let me ask you: Are you going to run the Lucas Oil Late Model Series, or are you going to run the World of Outlaws?
We still haven't officially decided yet. We're second in World of Outlaw points by a few, and we're third in Lucas points by a few. So we'll kind of wait and see. I know we're going to go to Smoky Mountain here in 2 weeks for the World of Outlaw race, and kind of go from there. The next week, they actually both run on top of each other. So we can go World of Outlaws at Swainsboro, or we can go Lucas Oil with Atomic Brownstown. So we'll just kind of have to all get together and decide exactly what we want to do.
You're 4 points out you're behind Ryan Gustin, 4 points back.
Yeah, in the World of Outlaws? Yeah.
Yep.
So we'll know which direction you go. After Smoky Mountain, you have to make a choice. Is that when we find out, or are you going to make an announcement before that?
I would say probably after that, or depending on what weather looks like, we might be able to ride it out for another few more weeks. But I would say we'll have a good idea after Smoky Mountain, kind of what our game plan is, and just kind of wait and see how there goes. And like I said, with the weather, still racing this early, whether it's Indiana or Georgia, there's still a lot of rain.
Ricky Thornton Jr. joining us. You really made a name of yourself driving dirt modifieds. We saw you win in the USMTS, some big races there, including the King of America one time. You raced at the Super Nationals up at Boone. You're a multi-time winner up there. How did that experience shape you for where you're at today?
I would say probably the biggest thing is when it was the modified stuff, I owned it, I drove it, never had a crew chief, anything like that. So I just learned every aspect of racing, whether you had to be a car owner making great business decisions, or if you're the driver, kind of just going out there and get the job done. So I don't know, we ran thousands of modified races, and we've been fortunate enough to have a lot of really good luck and a lot of great sponsors along the way. Really, without them, I wouldn't be able to do this on my own. So I don't know. I feel like he learned so much running local races and in big modified races, not even so much like USMTS and stuff like that. Just be able to travel around and learn from everybody else. You can kind of apply it, and I don't know. It's just worked out for me. A lot of hard work, but I definitely wouldn't change it.
Well, that experience, I'm sure, has served you pretty well here in the last year or two. You've had a lot of different people working on the race car. You Anthony Burroughs, and then you had Chris Madden helping out last. You've had a lot of different people working on the cars. Do you make the calls yourself most of the time?
For the most part, we all kind of just get together and make a decision. The late model stuff's gotten so aero dependent, so setup based. Really, just there's so many different scenarios where I don't know if it was always that way or not, but now I feel like if your car's not absolutely perfect, you don't have a great shot to win the race. Where you can feel really good and still run fifth or sixth. So I'm just kind of always. It's hard for me to drive and feel exactly what I need to feel, but at the same time, you got to have 2 or 3 crew guys that can watch a car, look at the tires and all that, and pretty much we all just get together and make a decision. And at the end of the night, whether it's right or wrong, we definitely don't bow our heads down and just know, hey, next time we'll give it a better shot.
So you got to be persistent. That's the whole key, right? You can't let bad nights get you down.
No, not at all. It's exactly how it has to be. Obviously, we all show up and we all want to win every night, but we all know that at the end of the day, that's not going to happen. So you just can't let those bad nights override your good nights, and just keep your head down and keep digging.
The competition level in dirt late model racing is pretty extreme right now. Just kind of describe just how difficult that is night in and night out, the many good drivers you got to go up against.
Yeah, every night you unload, there's probably 10 to 15 guys realistically that can win the night. So you just got to make sure that your nights you put your whole night together, whether it's qualifying, your heat race, your feature, whatever it might be. Usually, if you go out and kind of screw up qualifying, you just dig yourself such a big hole that it's hard to pass a lot of those guys. I feel every good team's got 2 or 3 good crew guys, a good crew chief, stuff like that. So we're all working in that 1%, and usually if everyone does their job right, you can come out on top. But a lot of times, even just running top 3, top 5 that night's a successful night also.
These Longhorn race cars have been pretty solid here for a while now. Describe what makes these race cars so good.
I'd say a lot of it's just the knowledge behind them. Obviously, it's Steve Arpin and Bill Stein shocks. They pretty much whenever we switched over to Bill Stein's a couple years ago, just there's so much knowledge behind it that really you can talk to 4 or 5 different guys and really build something exactly how you want. Where I feel like before we kind of had it, but not really. But just the closer you are with Longhorn and Bill Stein, like I said, are just the more they help. And in the long run, that's what you need. The more ideas you got, the more you can figure out. So it just in the long run, I think we made a really great decision with being with Longhorn, and looking forward to working with them for many years.
One final question. How big is this break since Speed Weeks before you really hit it big to get regrouped and ready to go for the rest of the season?
Really, so pretty much everyone went home this week, and really that's about our only break. We hurt one car twice while we were in racing Speed Week, so it was kind of a lot of long hours, but pretty much we all got back to the shop last week, worked all week, got everything done that we wanted to get done. Everyone went home Friday, and then pretty much everyone will meet this next Monday. So pretty much gave everybody 8-9 days off, and then we'll all get back together and start working and getting ready for the rest of the year. There really isn't a big break anymore in late model racing, but at the same time, for a lot of us, if we're not racing, we're not making money. So
Right.
We try to run as much as we can, and as long as it makes sense at the same time. So we just try to do our best, and I think so. One of my crew guys, he went back to Minnesota, and he was running an ice car this past weekend, and heck, I'm getting ready to go race my micro this coming weekend. So we even our vacations are still around a little bit of racing.
One of the best late model drivers in the country, would you say, Kirk?
Yeah, and it'd be interesting to see how he does in a sprint car this year. He said he's going to get in a 410 wing sprint car a couple of times. Pretty well-rounded racer, wouldn't you say? It was Chili Bowl, micros, and everything down at Tulsa and his dirt late models. He's a wheel man, no question about that. You know, he brought up a good point. There's really no off-season for these dirt late model guys. So if they get a break like this, you know, for a couple of weeks, that's the last break they'll have for a year, because you remember they do the indoor race at Gateway, and you know, there's just really no off season for dirt late model guys. After Christmas, it's the Wild West shootout, and you know, these guys go pretty hard all year long.
That was episode 349. In case you want to go back and find that on your podcast, and the full interviews there. It's got about another 10 minutes worth of content, or about another 5 minutes. Now that Kyle Cummins interview, we interviewed him for almost 35 minutes, guys. So
he was good.
We kept him. What you're going to hear today will be about 20-some minutes of it. So there's still another 15 minutes.
We're going to play part 2 of that in the second hour, right?
Yep, that's right. Part 1 here after we come back from this break, and then part 2 will be the extended version of Kyle Cummins. He was a really good interview and had lots of information. So that's episode 349. You can find that on Apple Podcasts, Podbeam, Spotify, Amazon, or anywhere you get your podcast.
And it was Chris Madden, who was RTJ's crew chief last year. Remember?
Right.
At the end of the season. You know, I'm not sure. You know, Chris Madden is an accomplished driver himself. He announced that he's going to kind of drop out of full-time racing, but he really hasn't done that. He, you know, after helping RTJ out last year, I think he missed being the driver. So I think he had some health issues too. If I'm not mistaken. That obviously he is over that, because last night Chris Madden won the Schaefer's Oil Spring Nationals opener down at Swainsboro, Georgia last night. So you know, it's interesting that Ricky Thornton Jr. has had a lot of different guys working on his race car,
right?
But there's one common denominator: RTJ keeps winning, no matter who's working on the race.
They're going to race at Southern Illinois Center.
That's coming up this month.
Right?
Yeah.
March 1st.
That's where RTJ is. This week he's racing
right
the
now.
micros this weekend.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. So we'll keep an eye on that. But Kyle Cummins, very interesting guy, coming up here in just a little bit. He was a great interview on Monday's Mostly Motorsports show, so we'll hear a little bit of that coming up after the break.
Do you want to take a break right now, Todd?
Yeah, we might as well take a break. When we come back, we can do the Sprint Car Hall of Fame read and then get in that interview.
All right. When we come back, Kyle Cummins is going to join us next right here on on Track Talk. And it's all brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. We'll be back in a moment. Stay tuned.
Track Talk. Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
90 seconds, gentlemen, 90 seconds.
The lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results, and every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
After my car wreck, there was a lot I didn't know.
I do know. My team knows injury law. We can help you understand all of your legal rights so that you don't get cheated.
DM Law.
And your out is still going to be 57-23.
Okay, 10-4. Thanks, bro. programming. We lost programming.
My symptoms.
There we go.
Board certified Dr. Brown is very professional, knowledgeable, and helped put all of my worries at ease. As Kansas City's leaders in minimally invasive, non-surgical treatments, I trusted Miva Medical and Dr. Brown to help me. If you're experiencing these symptoms, go to miva-medical.com. That's MIVA-medical.com.
Here's the best kept secret in Kansas City, KCI Car Care Center, the Phillips 66 station inside the airport. Tired of riding the shuttle buses when you fly? Let KCI Car Care pamper you and your car. They offer valet parking and vehicle service while traveling out of town, which is both helpful and convenient. They drive you to your terminal, drop you off curbside in your own vehicle, and pick you up curbside when you return. To find out more, call 816-243-5880. That's 816-243-5880. KCI Car Care Center, the only way to fly.
Back to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. It's all brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the PowerEye Midwest Lightning Sprints. Kirk Stevens said, even though RTJ won the Lucas Oil Championship with Chris Madden as his crew chief, I'm not sure they got along that well.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but the fact is that Chris Madden is number one, a driver. I think he would rather be in the seat of his own race car than being a crew chief. Don't you? I think that probably had more to do with it than anything else. And Chris Madden, who we were told stepped aside because he'd been dealing with some health issues and looked like he was going to retire from full-time racing. Maybe he's gotten back to good health now. Obviously so, because Madden's still winning races out there, and he won last night. So I don't know what that's all about. I'm not going to try to speculate and all that. Could be true, but my guess is that Chris Madden would rather be a driver than a crew chief. The National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum giving away a Corvette again this year. And this is the most powerful Corvette ever. The fastest, most powerful Corvette ever to be given away by the Hall of Fame.
1,045 horsepower. Isn't that right, Kirk?
What is it? 1,064 horsepower.
1,064.
Yeah. This is quite a car, and you can win it. All you have to do is go to winacorvette.org to get registered. They're drawing for it a week after the Knoxville National. Deadline is the Saturday of the Knoxville Nationals, and they'll draw for it a week later. It is a ZR1 with a ZTK performance package, turbocharged DO8C V8 engine. And as you pointed out, over 1,000 horsepower. And so you have an opportunity to win this car. So again, go to winacorvette.org to get registered. The Dennis Allbaugh Suite Tower is well on its way to being completed by the time the season opens up in April when the World of Outlaws show up at Knoxville. Boy, that's a different look in Turn 2 at the Knoxville Raceway with the addition of the Dennis Allbaugh Suite Tower. The National Sprint Car Hall of Fame Museum, it's open 7 days a week. Check out the great exhibits up there. They change the exhibits up there all the time, so you got to go often because things change in the Hall of Fame. And you can check out the gift shop while you're up there, too. And if you want to know what they have in the gift shop, go to sprintcarstuff.com, and you can see all the great stuff that is available in the gift shop at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum. The induction ceremony is coming up on May 31st this year. That's the same weekend the non-wing USAC sprint cars will be in town. So looking forward to that weekend. And so won't be long. We'll be looking at the induction of the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame.
Kirk, we're going to have to go up there and pick up our trailer up at Liberty RV.
And we got the campsite up there at the North Campgrounds again, so we're going to be locked and loaded. We got access to full season up there at Knoxville, don't we? So we'll get that camper lined up. We'll be up there at Knoxville on several occasions this year, so looking forward to that. I think maybe one guy that might be a future Hall of Famer is Kyle Cummins. What do you think?
I think so.
I mean, he's getting it done out there for the USAC non-wing sprint cars. He's out there, got off to a great start at the Winter Dirt Games down in Florida, won a race at Volusia, and also won a race at Ocala Speedway, and he ended up with the championship over Dazen Persley. And we had Kyle Cummins on earlier this week on Mostly Motorsports, and here is part one of that conversation. Hey, congratulations on the Winter Dirt Games down there. Your season off to a great start.
Yeah, definitely. Compared to last year, we everything seemed to be rolling smooth and pretty consistent. So I hope it stays that way.
Two different kinds of racetracks. So you had Volusia, that's a big half-mile, big high-speed racetrack. But Ocala is about unique to any other track in the country. Is it a kind of an egg-shaped oval? The difference between those two racetracks, did that take a lot of work going from one track to the next?
It's definitely a little different. Volusia still has a little bit of a D shape to it, but there's no track in the world like Ocala for sure. And it's kind of one of my favorite ones, really. It's just you got two different kind of corners. You got the tightest corner that we've ever had, and then you got a kind of a big sweeper, and it's just kind of it makes the racing interesting. You really don't know what's going to happen, and you don't know what line's going to produce at what time. So it's kind of fun to race at.
Is that one of those racetracks where you got to compromise a little bit? You can't be perfect on either end. You just kind of try to get the best of both worlds there at Ocala?
Yeah, definitely. It's for something about if you can get off a turn 4 and get down the front stretch, it almost seems like the rest of the track's easy. But then there's times when the way the track is, that getting off the front stretch is fine, and the back stretch, if you're hanging on the back stretch too much, well, now you got a problem too. So it's we kind of set up, my whole setup deal is to get off a turn 4 and down the front stretch, and then I kind of deal with it the rest of the time. But you just never know. The track was different. We had 4 different nights there, and there was probably 3 completely different racetracks. So, it's fun to have like a different challenge every night, and to be able to put her on the podium. And I think we had a 1/5 that one night, but to be up there, through the 2 different tracks, and then the different track changes, shows we've got a pretty good balance.
You won the Western World as well. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, that was the end of the year last year. From Sprint Week on, we changed some people out, and got a good team together and found some stuff that we've been missing, and we went out the Western World there, and that's Jerry's. That was the race Jerry wanted to win, our owner, Jerry Petty, and more than we had talked about Sprint Week and stuff, and it's like he didn't really care about that at all. His race was the Western World, so it's where his family scored for years, and that's what got him into racing, and he was really excited for us to come out there, and I think we ran third the first night, and then second or third the first night, and then won the final and the finale, and it was pretty exciting. All his family, a lot of his family was out there, and he was like a kid in a candy store. So it was good to finish the season off. It definitely helped too. It was really good to finish the season off with a kind of leaving on top a little bit, and he took that momentum, and the guys worked hard in the shop and took that momentum and right into Florida. So haven't missed a beat yet.
Talk about the Chili Bowl a little bit. I know it didn't turn out like you planned.
No, I really felt like we had a really good car there. One of the best ones we've had, and in the heat race and qualifier went good, and then in the feature, our prelim night, the track just kind of really took a change, and we missed it a little bit, but then right at the end, we really started coming back, and I got past coming to the checkered to put us in the B main, and so we were in the C main, and for the final night, and we had the most strangest thing happen that's happened to me. We just got some new wheels and stuff, and had changed some stuff around, and they're bolted on. The wheel covers are. So I think we were in second or third in the C main. Thought we would transfer through that and then make some changes to the car, and thought we had a good chance in the B. And our wheel cover fell off.
Wow,
and,
that's weird.
Yeah, I didn't know it happened. I just knew there was yellow, and I kept seeing people pointing at me, and I'm like looking around, like, what is going on? Like, why are they pointing at me?
Right.
And then they told me I had to go to the tail, and I still didn't. They didn't tell me why. And I'm like, what in the world? Why would I have to go to the tail? And so after the race there, we found out the wheel cover fell off, and I was a little bit. The guy that put the wheel cover on, everyone was a little bummed out, and the guy who did it, he was pretty upset because it's a long week to go and then have something silly happen. And knowing that we were going to transfer into the B main and had a chance to make the A, but once we did a little bit of research, the inserts that were pressed into the wheel were actually like they were either a metric insert or the threader that threaded them had it like double threaded. And so on that wheel, we never ran it yet. And so I put the impact on it, tightened it up, and I could not get it off. But if we started wiggling on it, you could hear it start popping the threads, and then we got it off. So really it wasn't our fault, really, or it wasn't his fault. It tightened up, and I would have never thought anything, but just the harmonics of the tire spinning just let the threads either being metric or the part that we were using was messed up. So it fell off. Is a little embarrassing because I've never to have a wheel cover fall off. That's kind of like it shouldn't happen. And we have all brand new equipment, and really nice stuff. And it was just kind of a parts. It wasn't even the wheel manufacturer's fault. It was the little inserts that you clip in.
Nobody's fault. So I bet your crew guys are relieved to hear that, but still, that's bizarre to have something like that.
Yeah, it was. It's like you buy them in like packs of 100 from McMaster and just pop them in. And I've never had it happen before. I've never seen it. I checked every wheel we had after that, and it was just it must have been the last edge of a bad batch. And I'm in manufacturing, so I own a CNC machine shop, so I understand where things, I guess, could get through, and so that just kind of got us there.
We're going to play the entire interview. Part 2 of that interview is going to be coming up in hour number 2. Todd?
Kyle Cummins has got a real good shot at winning the USAC championship this year, driving that Petty race car. He's not won a USAC championship before, but I think he's got a real shot at it this time. He's becoming more consistent. A lot of racetracks. Remember, he's always good at Hobstadt. Tri-State Speedway and Kokomo are two of his best racetracks.
You reminded me that he won the non-wings sprint car race down at the Daniel McMillan Jesse Hockett Memorial.
He did. Back in, when was that, 2018? Something like that. So, yeah, he's a former Jesse Hockett Daniel McMillan Memorial winner at Lucas Oil Speedway. The next event for the non-wing USAC sprint cars will be coming up at Paragon Speedway on April 4th. So they got a little bit of time off before they get back at it. The following night, April 5th, they'll be at Red Hill Raceway in Sumner, Illinois. Well, We were talking about Ricky Thornton Jr. racing the micros this weekend. I see he finished 4th last night in the Winged Outlaw Micros at DuQuoin Indoor Track. Started 8th and ended up 4th for RTJ. So if you want to follow him, I'm not sure if anybody's doing live video of that. I didn't see the live video if it was up there, but I don't think so. But they are indoors at DuQuoin this weekend. If you want to watch RTJ race, he'll be there again tonight. Hey, I want to remind you that the World of Outlaws are in action this weekend. But it's kind of a strange schedule. They're racing Sunday and Monday night at Volusia Speedway Park.
Monday night.
Yeah, no, this is in coordination with Bike Week down at Daytona. So that's why they're racing on Sunday and Monday nights. So we'll keep tabs on that on Dirt Vision coming up those 2 nights.
That's kind of odd, isn't it?
That is odd.
Sunday and Monday.
Yeah. One other race we haven't talked about, Scott, is the Silver Cup at Silver Dollar Speedway, Chico, California. Last night, it was Shane Golobeck making a power move to the outside of Caleb Montgomery with about 15 laps to go. After starting on the pole, he fell back to 2nd. His fellow front row starter, Caleb Montgomery, was able to jump out to the early lead, but then Golobeck made his move around the outside for victory over Braden Sharamonte. Caleb Montgomery ends up 3rd, Andy Forsberg 4th, and Austin Wood 5th. That race was on Flow Racing. They're going to be doing it again tonight. If you want to have late-night racing on your calendar, Silver Dollar Speedway out in Chico, California, late tonight on Flow for the Silver Cup. 360 event.
What is that going to be aired on, Kirk?
Flow.
Flow?
4,000 to win tonight's race. And they're going to be racing again tonight at Springfield Raceway for the Randy Mooneyham Ken Essery tribute. I see Ken Schrader was racing a modified down there last night. I didn't see results of the A-Main and the modifieds, but Kenny Schrader was there. He won a heat race. The late models had Brian Shirley, the winner, Dylan McCowan, Tony Jackson Jr., Clayton Stuckey, and Billy Moyer in the top 5. That's Billy Moyer Sr., still out there doing it. Started 5th, ends up 5th, and they'll go at it tonight for another round of it. Tonight, I think it pays $10,000 to win tonight for the tribute to Ken Essery and Randy Mooneyham at Springfield Raceway.
I want to give a shout-out to Joe B. Miller, who ended up starting 17th and ended up running 6th.
He's a wheelman, too, isn't he?
He's a wheelman, right?
Joe B. Miller might be one of the most underrated talents in the whole country. This guy can drive a race car. We've seen him do it. I mean, he can get in just about any race car and get more than the most out of it every time.
Terry McCarl was down there as well. He ended up running 4th.
Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Boy, that was a big win for Matt Covington last night.
It was.
He got a great starting spot. He was up on the pole to start that race, and he sailed to victory over Davey Franick, who ends up 2nd, and Jason Martin was 3rd.
He started 2nd, Kirk.
Davey Franick started 2nd. He ended up 1st. Matt Covington was on the pole, it says here, unless I'm reading something wrong. But congratulations to Matt Covington, one of our favorite guys. Big win for him.
Maybe we'll get him on Monday.
We had him on a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
So talking about it is always a good guest. So we're not sure who we got on Monday's Mostly Motorsport show. We're working on it. We'll be here noon Monday.
Hour number 2 coming up. You can watch it on Facebook. You can watch it on YouTube. You can watch it on racerboys.com. And hour number 2 coming up. We're going to play part 2 of Kyle Cummins' interview. And it's all brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. Kirk, you got anything to add?
Have a great weekend, everybody. It's 1st of March. Celebrate. We'll be here next Saturday morning live here on Sports Radio 810. Thanks for joining us.
Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Thanks, my man. Appreciate it, bro.
Icon is seeking. Good stuff. We'll see you next week.
All right, brother. Be careful.
All right.
All right. We should be.
Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Sure, especially sportswear in-house. We do all of the screen printing, all the embroidery. We do some vinyl. The other add specialty items like your pens, magnets, notepads, calendars. You can actually buy that, build your business to make it larger. We have the largest screen printing process and the largest embroidery anywhere around in the area. We can do stuff all the way from your school clubs to sports teams, a professional look in the office. If you can imagine it, we can do it for you.
From the circle track to the drag strip to off-road racing, Rod End Supply has been keeping their customers at the front of the field since 1989. Whether you need rod ends, tubular rods, or specialty products, Bob Douglas and his Rod End Supply staff are always ready to help you with your needs. You can visit them on the web at rodendsupply.com or call them at 800-284-2902. That's 800-284-2902. Rod End Supply, keeping you at the front of the field.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Sabres 33 RLP. Let's go take a tour. Coming into this animal, we're going to take a trip back here to the feature of this trailer, the deck. Check it out. It's awesome. It's 4 by 10 feet. You can dance on this thing. Boom! Check it out. It's pretty nice. And then coming to the back of this thing, you got a 75-inch TV. It's huge. 60-inch fireplace. Nice and big, keep you warm. Then you got an ottoman that converts into a table, if you will, maybe some TV trays. Then this hide-a-bed that I'm pointing at, it comes out and folds into like a king-size bed with storage in the corner for all your linens. Great little addition to the trailer. Your dinette, of course. Then you're gonna come around to the kitchen with the tic-toc sink. It's got the spritzer and the waterfall and all that stuff. Residential style refrigerator. It's got the microwave and the oven that's residential as well. Big old pantry over here with motion detected lights, coffee bar, and then coming up to the bedroom, you'll have the bathroom first, nice and spacious with a seat in it for them ladies. And then we got the king size bedroom with washer dryer hookup. I'm telling you, this is a home run for a couples coach. Come and see me, Kyle Walker.
When Steve died, the outpouring of love was amazing. These dollars had come together to support us, and we realized, no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. I was in the hospital 8 months, and that got really, really expensive. So having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
So we have a lot of folks come in interested in traveling for work. This is going to be a great option. Your Coachman Northern Spirit 2565 front kitchen. You have a nice wraparound full front kitchen here. Huge windows up top. Big 12-volt refrigerator. Lots of windows on the sides here. Great natural light coming in. You have your big TV over here on the swing arm bracket so you can kind of see it from any point in the room. Also have your bar stools here. Sit and eat your breakfast. In the bedroom, you're going to have a king-size bed in the slide-out. Lots of storage underneath that. Washer, dryer, hookup. Tons of storage with the drawers. Then you got your full bath across the back. When it comes down to a camper that you can get for 6,500 pounds and be under 30 feet long, this is an absolute home run.
Race fans, the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum is open 7 days a week, year-round, for you to come in and check out all of the wonderful race cars on display in the museum. And our online store at sprintcarstuff.com is open 24 hours a day for you to check out everything that we have in stock for sprint car fans. Whether it's for a birthday, anniversary, or Christmas, sprintcarstuff.com has it all. That's at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum in Knoxville.
Go harder, faster, stronger with Rod End Supply. Whether you are running industrial, farming equipment, or a race car, Rod End Supply has the assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products that will help you lead the field in performance. Our superior design means our rod ends last longer and perform better, giving you the edge on the track and saving you money. Contact Rod End Supply or order online today at rodendsupply.com. We don't just sell them, we race them. rodendsupply.com. Serving the racing community for over 30 years.
Hey everybody, this is Larry the Cable Guy, and you are listening to RacingBoys.com, and if you're not, I swear to you, get in your truck or do something, but get the hell out of this country, because you don't belong in it if you don't listen to these fellas.
It's time for America's most unique motorsports show, Track Talk, brought to you by Rod End Supply and the Power Ride Midwest Lightning Sprints. Here are the racing boys, Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Welcome back to hour number 2 of Track Talk right here on RBN, the Racing Boys Broadcasting Network. We got Kyle Cummins coming up here in a little bit. We've got the entire interview. Todd, we're playing the entire interview, right?
What's left of it?
Or part 2.
Yeah, part 2, but it's
But this is going to be 23 minutes
yeah,
long.
this is a long interview. So like
we had him on more than a half hour.
Yeah,
right?
he was on for more than a half hour.
He's a good guy.
The stuff I cut out somebody else might still find interesting. So you can go back and find that episode. That's episode 349. I'll pull that little still up for you so you can see that for yourself. I pulled, like I said, the only thing I cut out of it was just a couple of things, and then maybe I always save like 1 or 2 questions for the people that do the podcast only, and that way you get an extra little bonus. So if you want to go back and hear the whole interview and maybe a few other things we talked about on the side, and then also the whole interview, we have a whole segment that we talk before we do any interviews. So if you want to go back and listen to me and Scott and Kirk BS about whatever's happened over the weekend and what we're going to be doing for the week, we do that as well. That first segment's kind of an open segment, and so we appreciate it. We've kind of scaled the podcast down to about an hour and 15 to 30 minutes, depending on our guests. And with Kyle Cummins on last week, we went almost an hour and 45. So
you never know. We're not set time
Absolutely.
on Monday. We can go as long as we want.
Shorter as long as we need.
Yeah.
That's just how it works. That's how podcasts are, though.
When we're on the radio, you got an hour. We got to fill the hour,
That's right. We got the hour. And
from 8 to 9 on Sports Radio 810. But when we do a podcast, and we'll be here again on Monday, 12 noon, if you want to watch it live, 12 noon on Monday. We're not sure yet. I'm working on a couple of big-time sprint car drivers right now. I've not been able to nail that down, so we don't know yet what we got on Monday, but
we'll definitely be talking about World of Outlaws opening.
Maybe we'll have Bob Douglas on.
We could do that. He's going to be a Hall of Famer next week.
Right.
Our good friend Bob Douglas, Rod End Supply, Power Eye Midwest Lightning Sprints, well-deserved. Going into the Hall of Fame next week, so looking forward to that. Yeah, we could hook up with Bob, talk about that. So tune in Monday. We're not sure yet who we got, but we'll have a couple of pretty good guests lined up. Hey, I just want to mention that Lincoln Speedway was supposed to have races tonight out in Pennsylvania. It's not going to happen.
Why is that?
They had an updated forecast yesterday. They pulled the plug yesterday on this, and they originally scheduled it was supposed to be a beautiful day today with highs in the 50s, but the forecast changed, and now they're calling for winds 20 to 30 mile per hour and higher gusts. And that doesn't work well with wing sprint cars and dropping temperatures. So they decided to pull the plug at Lincoln Speedway tonight, but they'll be back at it next week. Now, they did have a race at Lincoln last Sunday, and Chase Dietz came through with the win. We watched that race.
Right.
Big win for Chase Dietz in the 23 car. That's a car that was formerly driven by Devin Borden, and we're going to see Devin Borden driving on the All-Star Series this year. So, but Chase Dietz off to a great start. Started on the pole, but he didn't lead right away. He fell back. What was it, 6th or 7th?
Right.
And then he rallied back, and he passed Danny Dietrich with just a few laps to go to win that feature. Dietrich ends up 2nd, Troy Wagaman Jr. 3rd, Brent Marks 4th, and Aaron Bollinger rounds out the top 5. I was surprised, Scott, to see that Anthony Macri didn't really have all that great of a run, did he?
He didn't.
Where did he end up? 10th? Started 12th and ended up 10th. I was kind of surprised to see that. But it was a daytime show, big crowd on hand, so they did get a race in, but the weather obviously not going to cooperate tonight at Lincoln Speedway, so no racing out there tonight. We'll be watching the night 2 of the Silver Cup out in Chico tonight on Flow. They've got another late model race down at Swainsboro, Georgia tonight, where Chris Madden will watch that on Flow. Night 2 of the USMTS at Heart of Texas Speedway in Waco tonight. We'll watch that on RacingDirt.com, where Jim Chisholm held off Rodney Sanders last night. So we got a few racing options out there tonight.
Matt Covington is currently 2nd in the points in the USCS points.
But he's not going to be running the full
he's
US.
Not going to be it.
He's got a chance of the way he's running now. You think Matt Covington might be able to pull off that first ASCS National Tour Championship this year? Last year we were rooting for Seth Bergman.
You know, he's been so close so many times, and I'm really pulling for him to pull off that championship. I'm not rooting against Blake Hahn.
Well, I'm a Blake Hahn fan,
right?
And he's going to be running full-time ASCS this year.
Hey,
Blake's going to be going for his 3rd championship.
I-35 canceled their practice because of the weather this weekend. But
they were supposed to have a practice today.
Yeah, but I believe Valley is still up and going for tomorrow. Or maybe it is today. No, today. It's sorry.
Today. This is March 1st, right?
Yep. So I believe Valley still...
I didn't even see what the forecast is today.
Well, it's chilly, obviously, but the sun's going to be out. So, and it's not like...
It's supposed to be 47 today, right?
But test and tune today. You can contact the track if you need to, but and then another test and tune next week, and then test and tune and special features the following week. So that looks like what you kind of got going on at Valley. But yeah, I-35 did cancel their practice just because of the weather,
the cold weather.
We understand it. Nobody wanted to be out there.
Are test and tunes a way for promoters to get them into the gate, sell some pit passes, and they don't have to pay out a purse? They can come out and run their cars.
Promoters
and
are all about the money, Kirk.
Well, wouldn't you be if you were a promoter?
Well, I mean, the drivers need to shake their cars down, so they're going to be there no matter what. So
I think racers would show up for free. If
the racers are show up, like you said. I think but like what you're saying though, as far as if there's promoters are going to find a way to make $1.
As a fan, I have no interest in going watching a test and tune.
No, if you had a friend or if you were part of something, if that was your teammate or your son, daughter, uncle, brother, sister, what have you, you'd probably go out there. But
right,
I used to go out and watch test and shakedowns on. So when Lakeside moved to dirt, from dirt to lake to pavement, on Tuesdays they used to have I don't know if they opened the track for a couple drivers or something, but I'd go out there, and at my lunchtime when I worked at the grocery store, I had a full hour for lunch, so we'd go out there and sit and watch a little bit of dirt, speed racing out there, and I get a couple cars on the tracks, but it was something to do while you're eating your lunch. But I don't think you're probably going to be selling a lot of concessions, which I doubt they're not even probably open, I'm sure. So
now, Lakeside, they'll have a test and tune on March 22nd, Saturday, and then on Friday, March 28th, before they open the season on Friday, April 4th. That'll be the schedule at Lakeside Speedway. But Valley and I-35 are two racetracks. They'll run in February.
They don't have no problem doing that.
If the weather's good, they'll run in January.
I kind of wish that Lakeside was still pavement. They had bigger crowds out there when it was pavement.
Well, at first when it was dirt, the crowds were huge. Throughout the decade of the 2000s,
but the crowds are not
were big.
The crowds are not the same right now.
They're not what they used to be. But you're calling for all these tracks to be paid, Scott, and I just don't think that's living in the real world. That's not going to happen.
There's the schedule for the test and tune March 22nd. So there's the details on that for you if you're wanting to get onto that. And like you said, more information on My Race Pass if you need to get everything. But the track looked pretty good. I drove by there the other day and swung in through there on my way home in my Mustang and drove by there. And I got the Mustang out on the warm day the other day. And, that bad boy.
Are you shocked that you were able to do that a week after it was 15 below zero?
I'm telling you, I got that Mustang out, and I wasn't quite for sure. It's been cold, guys.
Right.
And I in the winter, sometimes I usually park that thing in the garage, but it was so cold, I didn't want to be jumping out into a car that was cold, so I parked the Mustang and put it under a car cover and had her tied down for 2 months straight. I think I locked her up in December and broke her out. And let me tell you, Scott, that thing started first try, didn't even have to give it gas. Pushed the clutch in, fired it, and it fired right up. That thing set, and I was worried that maybe that battery might have gotten dead because it was cold. We had that wind chill to 30 below with the temperatures.
Fired right up, huh?
Not only did it fire right up, I got out of it and let it warm itself up. I didn't even have to put my gas. So, like I said, that thing's a beast. I drove it around. Me and the dog jumped in, and we drove around and burned a little rubber off the tires. And blew the smoke cobwebs out of it for the winter. And I washed my car yesterday, guys. I washed my actual real car yesterday.
I did mine a couple of days ago.
I did it by hand. I was in the driveway and got the buckets out and the soap and got my hose hooked back up. So
I got a car wash right up here on North
Well,
Oak.
the problem is my car wash yesterday, I went to it.
It was packed.
Not only was it packed, it was all the way down around the corner. I was like, nah, I'll just go home and rinse this beast off.
I think I got my car washed ahead of the big crowd.
You did. I remember when, and Deidre's car looks real clean too. So I know you guys had gotten it before this last one, but there was a lot of stuff on the ground. I drive a couple different places on the way in here, and man, let me tell you, this winter, there was a lot of salt stuff they put on the road because it took a bunch more to get that off this year.
Let me tell you about the roads. They're terrible right now.
Potholes?
Potholes are everywhere.
They're bad. They just finished repaving Antioch to one. Not repaving, pothole covering. The potholes were so bad on Antioch coming from 152 to here, because that's the way I come in the mornings, because when I get breakfast and get... The potholes were so bad, guys. I used to drive in the mornings because there was nobody, I'm here at 5:45 or 6 o'clock in the morning. I drive on the turn lane.
Right.
Because that was the only lane that didn't have potholes in it. I drove it today and couldn't believe it. They'd filled in the potholes, but it still beat your car up.
Hit one of those things, you can really cause a lot of damage.
There's some bad ones out there right now, guys. We in the Midwest, and we talked to Pat Warren about this, the Kansas Speedway. No other track goes through the changes like what Kansas Speedway, and Chicago would be your closest. of getting extreme hot to cold temperatures. But nothing compares to what Kansas Speedway deals
Well,
with.
that track's held up really well.
They talked about how
did the repave.
and Pat, in that interview we did with him not too long ago, he said he interviewed the guy who helped did the repave on that thing, and he said, man, it's still holding up really well, and we're having the best.
It's smooth, and it's not rough.
No. You remember we had a hole. Remember that one year when Darrell Waltrip was still calling the races, they drilled a hole
in the race
in the hole because the water was shooting up out of the thing. Remember
The old track.
at the old track.
Yeah.
So like you said, this new track has been
That
awesome.
had seams, and it really
a lot
was
different.
bad.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't a good
before they did the repave.
But this new repave, and we did a whole segment on our. We had a TV show back in the day. We did a whole segment on the repave, and went out there and stood on it while they were.
That might be one of the best repaved jobs
absolutely
in NASCAR history.
I agree.
What they did at Kansas
Do you
Speedway.
think Atlanta's better than
It's close second, but I'm going to still say Kansas is number
I'm
one
still
repave.
partial to Kansas Speedway.
Yeah. Now
Right.
people in Atlanta probably argue with you, but I think Atlanta probably learned what Kansas, and kind of look what you're looking for. But that repave, you couldn't. I guarantee you, they if they would have asked, tried to get a present and say this is exactly what we want, they couldn't have got anything better than what they got out there. I mean,
the
all
progressive
expectations.
banking is a big part of it too.
Absolutely. I just wish I feel bad, and I don't know. Maybe they do run more course, but that road course just sits there now and does.
They've hardly ever used that road course. have
Every once in a while,
they only used it one time, didn't they?
The 2 years they had it for.
They had that big road racing event out there. You
Yeah.
and I covered that, Todd. out
yeah,
there.
we went out there.
Sterling Moss, the Sir Sterling Moss,
Sterling
showed
Moss, and the lady.
formerly known as Bruce Jenner.
No. The lady that we interviewed was Sterling Moss. They both she was a
Caitlyn Jenner now, right?
Yeah, but this was a reporter from back in the day, and she was one of the only reporters that was an actual driver. Remember, she'd get her typewriter out after she raced, and Sterling Moss said she was a hell of a race car driver. But yeah, that was something else. But no, I think for the Kansas Speedway, it's one of the best racing tracks. That, like you said, that infield, they raced
We did the test the Maserati and the Ferraris out there one day on the road course.
Yeah, and then me and Kirk.
Hey, Kirk, you were out there in what? What'd you drive?
Kirk had the Ferrari, and I had
Ferrari,
and I had the Porsche. I had a black 9.
And we didn't wreck the cars, which that's a good thing.
And people think you just jump in and kind of go, but it was you had
they
to
had
set
somebody riding with you.
Yeah, but you had to sit and watch all the.
Hey,
you had to
Kirk.
watch video all morning. It wasn't like we just jumped in there.
Do you remember the time when we were up there at Heartland Park, Topeka?
Yep. Yeah, we did. We were in. What kind of cars were we in that time?
Volkswagens. Do you remember?
I remember riding with you. Or was I riding with you?
No, you didn't ride with me.
We had separate cars.
Remember the guy that I was driving for? He was a Mazda champion.
He tried to teach you how to drive. That didn't work out so good.
No. He was about ready to get sick.
Yeah, because you were taking him to the limit.
You took him for a ride that he'll never forget.
Jeff was my driver. Jeff Mills here locally, and he's Richard Petty driving experience, and he also runs the Elgin track sweeper out there at the Kansas Speedway. He was my instructor, and I had just had my wrist surgery to take the plate out, and I was still wearing a protective pad on my wrist because it was still kind of tender on that, and I had the seat laid all the way back, and Jeff said, "You should be up on," and I said, "I don't drive like that." I go, and so I had the seat laid back, guys, and I was like this driving around that course, but we got beat by the Channel 4 or Channel 5 Carol Long. She scored the best time, not the fastest time, but the best. I mean, not the fastest speed, but the best time.
Right.
So she beat me and Kirk, but I think we had 12. I think there were 12 cars on the track at one point. I mean, we had a lot of, sometimes media people don't take the advantage of going out and doing whatever. That day, everybody took took a shot, didn't they,
Oh,
Kirk?
yeah,
Because
nobody was
everybody
gonna miss that.
Scott was out of town, or he would have been able to get in it. But that was back in the day when you were still running the ASCS tour, so
Right.
you were out of town. So me and Kirk went out there and filmed a segment, and
Yeah, they take you to school. They,
Oh, yeah, you
as,
sit and
as
watch-
Todd mentioned, you just don't jump in these
no,
cars
you sit
go.
and watch a whole class, and they tell you, hey, look, when this is going on here, he's going to tell you. And the cool thing was, all these cars, the instructor, he's got a button on his side where he can undo it to where you have full throttle, right? Because what happens is you're not getting full throttle on a Lamborghini.
Even though you're driving, you don't have full control.
No, he's got her back down. He's got like a governor switch. But once we got going, Jeff opened her up and he's like, you're on, it's on you now. We were going along, and then when another car would come up to pass, he'd say, hey, because the tower would yell down to Jeff, and Jeff would say, hey, move over, you got a car getting ready to come and pass you on your left. And it was fun. I do know they do use the road course, though, for the Porsche Club. I don't know if they still do, but the Porsche Club and the Lamborghini Club and the Trans Am, these
You
clubs.
don't have any big racing events on.
No,
it,
but these private guys that own these clubs, where all these rich guys come out with their Porsche,
Right.
and they come out and they rent the track for the day. And so the Porsche Club or the Lamborghini Club, the Ferrari Club, I do know that Kansas Speedway, they did do that for a while. I don't know if they still are, but man, that road course was pretty cool, I thought. And I don't know, I'd like to see him throw a one-off event in
it's
there
hard
every once
to
in
make
a
a
while.
really good road course in the infield.
Well, it
a
is.
mile-and-a-half racetrack.
They did the best they could.
Yeah.
But they sure took away a lot of RV parking, when they
did.
built
Right.
that. And it's just kind of strange that they just didn't put it back, or,
Well, I think they had bigger plans for it, but just didn't kind of
Oh,
work out like
absolutely. Yeah, they
thought.
did.
How many times did they race out there?
I think
I,
just
I only remember that one
Yeah,
big
the-
event that they had.
yeah, the
out there.
overnight, and it was all the way into the evening. And
Was it IMSA or
it
I
was
can't remember
it was
what
three different cars on the track, or two different cars on the track, and they had it tied in with what's the soccer team out there, Sporting KC, but it was called something else back then.
Yeah, a lot of those guys.
They were there because it was
were out there.
yeah, because it was their All-Star weekend. So they brought over a bunch of All-Stars, and it wasn't just the local guys; it was all the MC, all the soccer players, and they came over and saw. I've still got that soccer ball. I don't even know the name. This is what funny.
You still got the beach ball.
I've
where
got
you
that.
Broke your
I've got
wrist
the
at the Chili Bowl.
yeah, I've
too,
still
didn't
got that. Yeah. But I've got a soccer ball signed by a bunch of soccer players, and I don't even know who they are.
Right.
I couldn't tell you who they are.
Have you
They're-
ever been to a soccer game at
my
Sporting
father
KC
and
Stadium?
my step.
I haven't been.
I've never been inside that stadium.
It's ruckus. It's apparently pretty hellacious.
They
It's
sell
fun.
it out, don't they?
And I guess it is pretty wild. There's some sections where you have to be on your feet cheering on all, it's kind of like the Top Row Rowdies. They've got a section out there. But my stepdad, he's gone to a few games, and it does sell out, Kirk
I'd
Elliott.
like to check it out sometime.
Well, just
I
for the
drive by
environment.
it all the time when we go into the Speedway, but I've never been inside the stadium.
You know, it's strange that they leave the lights on now a lot. I don't know if it has something to do, but that glow, you can see that glow of that orange stadium from miles away. It almost
You're
looks
glad
like
you don't have to pay the power bill.
yeah,
for
I
that?
can't imagine. Hey, did you see the Cerner building? Somebody's moved into the Cerner building over there, so that's
Well,
not
that's good.
Not
Better than having those buildings empty.
absolutely. So that's good to see that. And
So there's two big weekends again at Kansas Speedway. May 11th this time. That is Mother's Day weekend, isn't it? It's a week after
yeah,
they
last
had
time it was
last
after.
year.
That's right.
So they'll have the Truck Series and the Cup Series the weekend of May 11th, and then September 28th. They'll be there for the
That's my
playoffs.
birthday week, so that'll be the week.
Hey, also got a test and tune on March 28th at Lakeside Speedway as well.
Yeah. So
Good deal.
Opening night is
April 4th.
April 4th.
Absolutely.
They're going to run pure stocks, E-mods, USA B-mods, and USA stock cars.
There you go. And what what other?
They dropped the A-mods, didn't they?
They did a couple years ago. They didn't have the A-mods full-time last year.
Last year was
Right.
no A-mods, so
The another big event that's coming up is the King of America for the USMTS Modifieds, and it's not going to be at Humboldt Speedway. It's going to be at Lucas Oil Speedway.
Why is that?
This year? Well, if you remember last year, they had some weather issues for the King of America, and, the crowds weren't all that great. last year at the King of America, and they weren't able to get in the Saturday night show because it rained it out. And I just think they had an opportunity to go to a facility that is, I love Humboldt Speedway. I like the speed that what they've done to the racetrack and the facility that built it up. The problem is the location of it. And to draw big crowds in late March and early April. Now, they used to draw pretty good-sized crowds for the King of America down there, but over the last few years, and I think they were thinking that, Todd Staley, if we got an opportunity to go to a place like Lucas Oil Speedway for this big event, why not help grow the event even bigger by going to a bigger facility? And Lucas Oil Speedway has that. And so the last weekend in March, I think it's March 20. What is it? Whatever the last weekend in March is, Saturday night, March 29th, so it'll be the 27th through the 29th, the King of America at Lucas Oil Speedway this year. So we'll probably head down there and check that out. They've got a media day at Lucas Oil Speedway coming up on March the 12th, so thinking about maybe heading down there for
they
that.
got dirt late models running at on June 13th at Lakeside Speedway as well.
Yeah.
Hey,
they've got, don't they have the ASCS National Tour coming back?
I believe so.
At Lakeside Speedway?
I think so. Hey, Valley has moved their test and tune to tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's
because they think the weather's going to be better
no,
tomorrow.
I'll read you what he posted. I worked on the racetrack. Still a few soft, wet spots. We're moving the test and tune to Sunday to give it a little bit more time to dry out.
It's going to be warmer tomorrow,
and it's going to warm up. So they've
it's
moved.
Supposed to be like 60 degrees tomorrow.
Yeah. So if you go to the Facebook page on Valley, they've got an update letting you know that it'll be tomorrow. And I appreciate. Whoever it was, I'm sorry, I'm away from my computer that mentioned that to me. So that's who I checked that out there.
The High Limit Series is going to be running on October 10th and 11th out at Lakeside Speedway.
But hey to Rick out there.
They're going to be there
in
May. The High Limit Series on the Friday, I think it's Friday, May 9th at Lakeside Speedway as well. So a couple of times the High Limit racing will be at Lakeside Speedway. In case you just joined us, we had some sad news concerning the Central Auto Racing Boosters Hall of Fame. Vernie Covert, who was set to be inducted next Saturday, unfortunately has passed away. And so our thoughts and prayers go out to his family at this time. But we'll be it'll be a sad to not have Bernie there next week, but his family, I'm sure, will be there. And so we're going to be at the George Mayan Center next Saturday at 4 o'clock for the Hall of Fame induction ceremony.
There he is right there.
Bernie, great guy, and boy, we're sad to hear that news the other night, but he's still a Hall of Famer. And we'll be inducting him along with Charlie Benedict, who's no longer with us, and Donald Connor, Ray Cunningham, who's very much with us, very good friend of ours, will be going in. Great publicist and historian, Bob Douglas. That's big. Bob Douglas going in. Rod End Supply, our great friend, J.D. Green, Rick Howard, Dave Rupard, and Pioneer Pat Cunningham, all to be inducted next week.
Hey, Todd, pull that race car picture up again.
Okay. So while we're pulling that up again, I think tickets are still available if you're interested in going. Give Brian Jackson a call, 816-916-4448, 816-916-4448. Christie's is catering again this year. $30. It's casual dress. Next Saturday, 3 o'clock, the doors open. Awards begin at 4. We induct half the inductees, and then we have dinner, and then the other half. That's the way it works.
Have you
And
ever
it's
heard of
George
Knights?
Mayan Convention Center next Saturday.
Hey, Todd, have you ever heard of Knights Hamburger Inn?
That's before my time, I think. That font on that
There's
picture.
a picture of Bernie Cobert
Yeah,
in the 177. What is that, a 57 Chevy?
That is a 57 Chevy.
Alan Miller just said that CMS I think it was CMS, just released their schedule.
They
this
did.
week.
We posted a story about that here a couple of days ago. Central Missouri Speedway will be opening up on Saturday, April 12th with a test and tune. And then their first race is Saturday, April 19th. They're going to be running B mods, Super Stocks, Midwest mods, and Pure Stocks this year. So
You can find that
Hey,
story on our
it's
homepage.
kind of funny that nobody wants to run A mods, do they?
No.
Costs too much money.
Well, we've seen the
Not
car
enough payoff.
counts of the tracks that have run A mods and the amount of purse money you got to put out. The A mods, there are just not that many of them left running anymore, with the coinciding issue of racetracks running them.
You know, the cost of USMTS, that is really the reason for no A mods around this town.
Well, I think one of the big issues with the A mods when some of these promoters put up $100,000 to win an A mod race, that brought over the late model guys over there. You throw money at it, the late model guys are going to bring their technology over with it, and we all know how expensive that can be. It's kind of ironic, Scott, that we've seen a couple of regular USMTS drivers now going full-time late model racing. We've seen Dustin Sorensen do that. He's defending one of the USMTS champions from a few years ago, not the defending champion. That's Jim Chisholm. But Dustin Sorensen has gone over full-time late model racing, and so has Dan Ebert. He's going to be running full-time, along with Jake Tim. Now, all these guys are former USMTS full-timers that are going late models. More money. But the problem with the USMTS and, a lot of the technology that the late model guys brought it over to the modifieds. That just increased the cost of it all.
Kirk, you want to set up this Kyle Cummins interview?
Let's do it. Part 2. We heard Kyle in the last hour, and we're going to hear more from the current point leader. He's tied with Dason Persley. Now, Dason Persley's not running full-time in USAC non-wing sprints this year because he's going full-time high-limit racing. But, in effect, Kyle Cummins is the current leader of the USAC non-wing sprint cars, and he won the championship for Winter Dirt Games down in Florida. And here is part 2 from USAC National Sprint Car driver Kyle Cummins. One track I always associate you with is Tri-State Speedway in Hobstadt. You always seem to do very well at that track. What is it about Hobstadt that suits Kyle Cummins so well?
I think so. When I was a kid, that's where we lived 15 minutes down the road. I watched many races there in my time, and it's kind of it's one of those places where it's always smooth and it's not rough. And whenever I was growing up, I had a little go-kart in the backyard, and my thought was when I was racing go-karting for fun was he can throw it in sideways, right? That was the cool part about racing sprint cars, was throwing it in sideways. And whoever threw it in more sideways was the coolest person. That's who you watch.
Right.
And even though it's not the best on these big tracks, the little tracks, like that's just kind of my dad, we had kind of a small operation, and we raced some different racetracks here and there, but we normally stayed local. And then whenever I took over everything and paid for it all, I couldn't race all over. So, we raced 15, 20 races a year, and 10 of those were at Tri-State or at Hopstop. So if there was a race at Hopstop, that's what we raced. So I have more races there than anywhere that we went. And, just from going there and basically, that's the track. We didn't win there for a long time. And it's like, oh, it's a local track. My dad had won there. Like, you want to win there. And we weren't going to other tracks as much. So basically our setup, we were making one change and going down racing next week. And then we'd make one change and go down and race the next week until we found a really good baseline. And since I found what we do there, it's the same. I did the same thing for the last 8 to 10 years there.
Right.
Same 4 torsion bars, same kind of shock valvings, and it's kind of crazy. The track's changed here and there over the years, but it still has that same the attitude of the car that you can really get her in there sideways and get your grip by going sideways, and it's not really a momentum track. It's more of a throw it in, turn it, go the other way.
You won at Kokomo. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, that's another good track for you, isn't it?
Yeah, and it kind of has a little bit of the same feel of Tri-State. It is a little D-shaped, and it forms a good cushion on there. But that was another place where it was kind of, when I owned it all, we ran at Hopstock there and we ran at Putnamville. And then we didn't really go anywhere else. And then, there was a big hype at Kokomo, and I'm like, man, we go there only at Sprint Week. That's all I would do is race one race at Sprint Week a year at Kokomo. And that was kind of one of those things. We wanted to do better there, so we started running there. When on Sundays we drive up, and it's way up there for us. It's it's a good 4 hours up there on a Sunday. It's tough for Monday. So, but we went there quite a bit. I don't know, probably 10 years ago, for a full year. We kind of tried to get there every Sunday we could. And, it's just the more laps you get somewhere, the more comfortable you get with it. And there's just something about it. I don't know. It's the kind of has the same texture as Tri-State a little bit. It always seems to be smooth. And, I don't know. I seem to really enjoy those tracks where you can really get sideways and you can make speed up. It just seems like it's wide enough. Some of these tracks get so slick and, it's cushion dominant or then the cushion's too far around. And it seems like Kokomo and Tri-State, the tracks seem to widen out to where you can make passes. So if you're faster, you can get to the front.
Talk about you're talking about running maybe a Silver Crown car. How about that?
Yeah, with Jerry Petty, we have the non-wing stuff. We have a wing car we're going to run a couple nights in, and then we just acquired a Silver Crown car a couple months ago, and I don't know what races we're going to run on it yet. The first one might be the 4 Crown, and I think before that I'm going to run for the 21 AZ team, kind of a teammate to CJ Leary. CJ Leary's running the pavement and dirt for that, and then they have another dirt car. So I might run their dirt car up until 4 Crown, just to hit some of the races. And then after that, we kind of got our own car here. That Silver Crown car is a little different, and there's a little bit different stuff with the transmission, and they're kind of their own little character. So our main focus is the non-wing sprint car stuff and to win the championship, and everything else falls second. So we're making sure all our sprint car stuff, everything's ready, all the ducks are in a row, and that's where we're putting all our main focus. And then the Silver Crown's just, if we make it, we make it. If we don't, we don't. And Jerry's kind of took that pressure off of me to make sure I'm at all them races, which is very nice, and just concentrate on the non-wing sprint car stuff.
What is the difference between driving a Silver Crown car and a non-wing car? What is the difference between the two?
Like the Silver Crown car, they got less power. they're a little bit longer. The races are longer, and they're all based on half miles or mile tracks. And so it's more that style that I'm trying to get a little better at, is that momentum, driving straight, not throwing the car in too much. And that's kind of why I want to run them a little bit more, is to get more laps on the bigger tracks, and then also running the car at a little less sideways, a little bit straighter. And they have a transmission in them, and so you can, battery start them. You plug in a battery, you can start them up, and then there's a transmission to get you going. And everything else is real close to the same. It's just a big sprint car with a little less power. It does weigh a little bit more, and then the fuel tanks are 75-gallon instead of our normal 25, 30-gallon tanks.
Right.
Any chance we'll see you at Belleville in that Silver Crown car?
No, they got someone else to run that one.
Oh, okay. That's turned into one of my favorite events, by the way. So.
Yeah, and we talked about taking the midget last year, and I was like, well, if we're not going to take the midget unless we're going to run a Silver Crown car. And then here we got the Silver Crown car, but it didn't seem like there's any off season anymore.
Right.
So,
there's not.
This is our off season right now, from when we got back from Florida till, of course, we race in 2 weeks, but some local stuff. But the USAC starts again April 4th and 5th. So, this is our longest time off from the winter, and just seems like we tore all the cars down. We changed some stuff from last year. We only actually had one car that I really liked, so we built 4 more just like it, and trying to get our arsenal ready, the motor program, everything set in stone here. So that Silver Crown car is kind of just set there. We painted the body, tore it apart, went through some stuff, but there's just not enough time to get it together and get it ready and be focused on the non-wing stuff.
So even though you're not racing here for a few weeks, this is an important time to get all your equipment ready to go for the long run here, right? Oh,
for sure. And it was really, really good that in Florida we didn't tear anything up, and there is some stuff that we mechanically have to fix just from that. I mean, Volusia is about as hard as that I know that I've ever ran a non-wing sprint car. I think that's as most motor that it used, and as hard as it was on equipment, and almost as fast. I don't know if I've been faster in a non-wing sprint car before. It just the way it felt, and you're so loaded up that it actually wore some stuff out. Like wing guys wear stuff out just racing, and it almost did the same thing. We wore a drive line out, so we're replacing all that stuff, and just going through everything, kind of almost rebuilding that car again to get it ready. And then we have our other ones that we did not touch, which was great, right? So they're sitting here ready to go. And then since this is our longest time off, we sent the motors off to be freshened up for the season. And so this is kind of just get everything ready, because once it starts, there's no time off here till we get into seems like September, October. There's no time off.
We're showing your merch page. Talk about your merchandise a little bit.
Yeah, I got it's funny. I don't know much about. I don't even know if I've looked at it before. My brother-in-law takes care of all that stuff, and we got all kinds of stuff. Heck, last year I think we had coloring books, and those went really well with the kids, and lunch boxes and koozies, and there's all kinds of stuff. We did a
cool
shirt for
lunchbox.
Florida, and it said, I like to do kind of theme shirts a little bit instead of just a standard shirt, so I try to do something just to make it a little different. And it was freezing cold in Indiana, so I was like, yeah, we're like bringing the heat. But everyone told me, well, that's kind of opposite. We're coming from the 32-degree weather going to the heat. We're bringing the cold.
Right.
And but then we had a really good week, so people were messaging me like, you did bring the heat down there. So that worked out all right. But yeah, we got some new stuff on there, and then we've already got our new mock-ups, and we'll have a new shirt out here, and then we're pretty excited. We have a coming around Knoxville time. We're going to have a special Knoxville theme, completely different than anything I've ever did. All new colors, all new everything. So pretty excited about that, and might break something different out for Sprint Week as well. So
yeah, we're going to be at Knoxville. We'll see you up there. That's of course one of our favorite racetracks, and that's a great event that they have up at Knoxville around the end of May, 1st of June, right?
Yep.
End of May.
Right before the kind of before the Nationals there, and Jerry Petty puts a lot of. Jerry is in the last couple of years has put a lot of money in just racing in general, but a lot of money in non-wing sprint car racing. It's what he loves, and he's sponsoring the USAC Western States races with CRA, and he's doing the quarter midget stuff, and he's got multiple non-wing cars. He's got some wing cars, and different drivers he's been helping. So I think he sponsors the Vontae Cornbelt Clash, and just a lot of things there. And it's pretty cool to be part of a guy that wants to give back. People are asking all the time, and he does it because he loves it, and he's helping the series a little bit, pay a little bit more and make it almost worth it, for us guys to make a living a little bit, paying a little bit extra, and at special races. So it's cool to be a part of that team, and for him to pick me. I'm one of the oldest guys in the group there, so but for him to pick me, and for me to still have my drive and still want to do it, it's pretty exciting.
Hey, he helped out Chad Boat and Dason Pursley there. You had your hands full trying to beat those guys, didn't you?
Yeah, they were right out of the box. They were good. Our program, we're just non-wing sprint car guys, and our program, from last year to this year is really, leaps and bounds ahead of where we were. And but Chad's program, his midget program's been there for years, and it's the top midget program to be in right now. And then, so I knew going into it, because I actually raced with Chad back in the day when he raced non-wing sprint cars. So, and I knew going into it they were going to be pretty good. And Dason right now is on top of his game, and runs a lot of different cars, and Chad's team is they do it right, and so it's just a little bigger car, and I knew in practice day I watched a couple laps in practice, and they were there all that we had loaded up and left, and they were still there getting after it, and but I was watching some lap times. I knew they'd be pretty good, so it was fun to beat him more than he beat me, just to kind of say, hey, we're still here, But no, they were. I think the non-wing sprint cars. Last year, I told a bunch of people. I think it's the hardest right now. The top 5-6 guys. I mean, it's deep, and it's you don't know who's going to win. There's a handful of guys, and it's super tough. But I think now, I almost think this year is almost more. Everyone's a little bit more secured, and everyone's a little bit more, with their teams, and it's going to be a tough battle all year.
You can win this championship. You're leading the points right now. Justin Grant, Brady Bacon's not going to run the full season this year. You can win this title this year, can't you?
Yeah, that's the plan, is to try not to tear too much up, and keep ourselves up front. I know from last year, from Sprint Week on, we crashed once leading on the last lap. But if we don't do that, I think our points, difference from halfway through the year on would have kept us right up there. We were we would have been top 2, top 3 in points if they just took that, half the year out. So I think we got a good package, and I think we got a good team behind us. So, I'd like to – I never wanted to – I never knew – I guess back in the day, I knew I couldn't afford to do it. And so I never even thought about winning the USAC championship. And it was never one of my – it wasn't even like a bucket list for me because I knew it was so far out of reach that, it wasn't going to happen. And now with Jerry coming on board and, now it's one of those things where, I'm kind of giving it everything I got to try to do it, and it's something I want now. So it's definitely a different perspective from what I've had, past years before. And, now we have the equipment, the team, the people, and there should be no reason why we can't win.
We just talked to Ricky Thornton Jr. Good help is hard to find, isn't it?
It's the hardest thing out of the whole deal.
Yeah, I mean, especially, with the demands on everybody, the travel, just trying to make it all work. It just it's a monumental undertaking, is it not?
Yeah. There's not enough money in racing to pay the people what they're actually worth.
Yeah,
right.
And for how much work that they put in, it's you have to find someone that's mechanical and can work on them, but then you have to find that same person that they know they're worth, but they're going to get paid less than what they're worth, just because they love racing and they want to be involved. And they're not going to get rich doing it, but and they're gone on all the weekends. They're maintaining through the week. They're traveling up and down the road. And it's really hard to find that person, that wants to do it. And that's just one guy. Now you got to find a crew of them. And every team out there is trying to find the same guys. And there's not very many of them out there.
Talk about that Ocala, that last lap pass that you made on the final lap. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, that was – so before that caution that last lap there, I got kind of stuck behind some lap cars. I knew I was better, and I was kind of running the bottom to try to get him off the top, and I knew I was not as good on the bottom, but I just wanted him to see me. And I thought, man, if I can just get beside him there, he can see me. He'll change his lineup, and I can just drive around him. And then all of a sudden, we're running out of laps, and I'm like, oh boy, I better get on it. And the first white flag we took, coming down the backstretch, it looked like he peeled off just a little bit to protect a little bit. And my plan was to fit through there. I thought I could have fit through there. And they threw the yellow, and I was all off the gas, on the brakes, trying to hope he didn't hear me out there. And then I just kind of ran the same line. And, for him sitting up front, there's nowhere to know where to go. And, he just kind of, I think he was going in kind of in the middle just to protect a little bit, the bottom or the top. And I just had a good run around the outside and, got around him. And my only thought was my team came down and said, why'd you keep running the bottom? And I'm like, I was just trying to get him off the top. That's all I was trying to do because I wasn't going to drive around him if he was on the top. And but then in his interview, he said something about, Kyle kept showing me his nose down there. So it worked. At least got him thinking a little bit and, just to open that hole up just enough and got around him there. And I knew once I took the lead, I was like, there's no, we have one lap. There's no way that anyone's going to drive back around on the bottom. So,
you had your one shot and that was that.
Yep, that was it. Got it. And I got real tight there. That the last lap actually going into 3, I didn't know how hard to run it in. I didn't know, my car was too tight to run up there and I didn't know what to do with my hands. I didn't know what to do with my feet. I was a little surprised that he went up there. So it kind of it changed the whole lap or two. I was so surprised that he went down. I'm like, whoa, this is awesome. So now I'm like excited, and I'm like, okay, I got to make one more lap here. Like, let's calm down. But
right,
no, we got it, and it was good to win at both racetracks. You know, just you know, the half mile where you're wide open, and then Ocala where it's a little bit more of a, you know, a chess game a little bit, and a little different racetrack. So it's pretty exciting to get a win at both.
Well,
I was really
your car kind of pushed off the final corner a little bit. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, so that's like when I went in, I was getting tight, really tight up there. So that last lap, I'm like, I'm not sure what to do. So if there's a little flat up there, it's like it's really hard to tell from the stands, but there's a really defined line when you're racing out there. So I just made sure, I'm like, as long as I get this thing turned, like, I'll be fine. Well, then I got it a little turn, and I had to backpedal, and then it got me in this push. And I was like, oh, brother, this is bad. And because I didn't know where they were at behind me, but I just kind of had to ride the brake and get the nose going, you know, the right direction again, and then could get back on it. But there was a couple seconds there where I was like, oh, this is bad. Like, I'm getting past.
That's our interview that we did with Kyle Cummins. You can listen to its entirety on what episode is that, Todd?
349.
349.
Just go to racingboys.com, click the podcast section, and all of the podcasts, mostly motorsports, are right there. So Monday's show, we don't know yet. We're working on a couple of guests, but we'll be here noon on Monday.
We got to make our
talk about what is going to happen tonight and tomorrow.
We got to make our NASCAR picks before we get out of here today.
Oh boy.
Let me pull up.
Who's going to win today?
I'm going to go ahead and stick with my Chase Elliott pick as but not as my main pick. That's probably going to be my backup pick. I think I'm going to go with William Byron as the winner today.
He's the defending winner of the race.
That's right. So my pick was Byron and Elliott. And
who are you picking, Kurt?
I'm going to go with Shane Van Gisbergen.
SVG for
Trackhouse Racing. How about that one?
That's a good pick.
He's the favorite today. Who would be your backup in case he?
I will go with Tyler Reddick.
Tyler Reddick. I'm going to go with the same person Kirk picked.
SVG.
Yep.
And then how about your backup?
My backup is...
There's some names up here on the screen if you need some help on the...
How about Connor Zillage?
I'm telling you. If people think he's good.
I don't know.
Those numbers down there at the bottom, those are some good picks.
You know, another former winner is Ross Chastain.
Absolutely.
Remember he won at COTA here a couple of years
He
ago?
did.
You know, I'm always going to pull for Christopher Bell.
I know you are. We'll put you down for C. Bell as your backup. So we got...
Is this a year C. Bell busts through and
think
wins
it is.
4 or 5 races?
I think so. I think what's going on, he had the throttle put on. He had the governor put on him last year. He wasn't allowed to do a lot of those dirt track racing and stuff. And
you think that helped him?
I think it does. I think it kind of allows him to feel like he doesn't have somebody telling him what he can and can't do. And I think this is just kind of. I think his mind is probably more into this year. You can tell. You see him at the racetrack. He seems to be, and he's getting. We know Christopher Bell. He's such a quiet guy. You know, even at the Chili Bowl, and I mean, it's his hometown. He's just a quiet kind of kid. It'd take him a few years before, you know, he's actually.
Did I tell you that I texted him after his win at Atlanta?
And he texted you back.
Yeah.
Well,
and he texted me back.
Yeah. He would come on our show, but he's so busy all the time. That's once NASCAR season
you
starts.
got to go through the PR
you gotta
guys
go through
to get Christopher Bell and Kyle Larson
because
on.
What happens
you just
is,
can't send C. Bell a text and can you come on?
Well, we could, but he'll say...
You got to go through their PR.
You could do it. We could send him a text, but he'd say, look, I don't even know what my schedule is today.
Yeah, I don't know what my schedule is.
You'll have to call my guy.
My PR rep.
Because you know as well as I do, as soon as the day starts, I mean, he probably only has an hour in the morning, an hour at night, where he's got nothing on the schedule. Everything else is accounted for. I mean, this dude's
Right.
got to be here, hopping a plane, doing this, doing interviews. So we appreciate all the time and all the interviews that they do give us. So it's going to be a good race. Like you said, I think there's the race today too, right, Kirk? Isn't there a race here?
There's an Xfinity race later on this afternoon. You can watch that on the CW network. They're going to be...
you can't watch it, can you, Kurt?
I can
at home.
because I'm going to be here. I was talking about up at the farm last
Back
week
on the farm.
when
where
I
we-
don't have the regular TV.
So you got...
I do have the app up there, and I went to the CW app, and they said, you got to watch the broadcast. We'll play the replay tomorrow. And I said, what's this all about?
They don't want
Kirk
you to...
is upset over that, isn't he?
Yeah, I wanted to see. I was listening to I was watching my grandniece play basketball, so on my way back listening to the race on the radio back to the house and thinking, okay, this is perfect. I'll get back to the house in time to see the finish of this race. And I get back and I got
no CW.
No CW net on the app. So I don't like that. If CW is going to carry the races, let's get it up on their app.
Well, that way they make sure you have to go and tune into their live broadcast. They spent a lot of money on their live broadcast this year, and it's a pretty good broadcast.
Well, some of us don't have the...
I understand.
Now,
but
here in Kansas City, I've got it.
Yeah.
What is it, channel
29. Here.
29? KCWE, is that it?
KCTE or something like that?
Channel 7 for me.
Yeah. But if you got and like you said, I watched it. I'm thoroughly impressed. They have their own graphics. They have
their production is really good.
Yeah, and they have their own mic flags for it and everything. So, I mean, it's not like they're just throwing in, just trying. It's pretty good production. So
Right.
I enjoyed it. I watch it. I may not watch the whole race. I turn it on in a couple TVs, and then as I'm doing things in the house, I can
I
look
don't
up
normally watch the whole Xfinity race,
No.
but
I'll
I'll
watch
be
it.
back and forth on it.
It's on in the background, and I always...
What's on tonight, Kirk?
We've got USMTS at Waco at Heart of Texas Speedway. We'll be watching that on Racing Dirt. We've got the Southern Nationals late models on Flow tonight down at Swainsboro. The Silver Cup at Silver Dollar Speedway is later on tonight on Flow. And you got to go to Speed Sport TV to watch the Ken Essery and Randy Mooneyham tribute at Springfield Raceway. I don't have access to that one.
I don't either.
And that's about it. Lincoln Speedway called off tonight. I was going to watch Lincoln Speedway, but they've canceled because of
And
bad
tomorrow practice at Valley Speedway, right, Todd?
That's right. They've changed it from
weather.
today.
And I-35 canceled their
And I-35
practice.
has canceled. So, but yeah, the website still says practice today. But if you go to their Facebook page, they've updated. They may have updated their
And the Cup race at COTA tomorrow's on Fox.
on
the
Fox.
Big network.
Yes, sir.
All right.
So we'll watch that.
Perfectly deal. So it'll be a good show, and then hopefully Monday we'll have a couple good guests. Kirk's going to be working on that today.
Yes, sir.
Don't forget about Mostly Motorsports on Monday at 12 noon Central Time.
We'll be here.
Kirk?
When is daylight time? Is that next weekend?
About 10 days or 11 days, I think. Yesterday was 12 days, so we're...
I don't like when you spring forward.
Yeah, it's always kind of...
I don't like that.
Yeah, kind of...
Why?
You lose that hour.
You lose that hour. It screws you up. Screws me up.
You feel like...
Why don't they just leave the clocks alone?
Let's call it down the middle and make it a half hour and
Well,
fill everybody out.
I would be for daylight time the year round. What do you think about that?
Yeah, well, I'm whatever they do, just leave it so we're not I get it. I know it sucks for these kids in the wintertime to be standing at the bus in the complete darkness. That's
what they don't want, isn't it?
because the other day when it was so cold and they finally let the schools come back, and I saw that bus. I saw a light coming down the road, and I thought, "Oh shoot, there must be an ambulance coming." And it was the bus with its lights on, flashing to stop. And I thought, "Oh crap! Could you imagine standing out that damn bus stop this morning?" No,
Man,
in the dark
it's too
like
cold
that, it's
to
just
stand
too,
out that
It is
that early.
and when you're in the dark, and it's tough enough to get these kids to go to school as
But
it
they
is.
canceled a lot of
Oh
classes.
no, they had to.
Right?
Absolutely.
So if they leave the
Because
clocks
of the
alone,
weather.
it'll be central. It'll be the standard time.
Yeah, and just leave it at standard, and hopefully it'll be a good good thing.
Which means it gets dark earlier in the summertime.
Yeah.
All right, Track Talk has been brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. Don't forget about on Monday, 12 noon Central Time, we'll be on Mostly Motorsports. Kirk, you got anything to add?
Oh, I was just going to say we're a week away from the NHRA opening up at Gainesville, Florida next weekend. So
it's all starting.
That Tony Stewart and Matt Hagan are showing off new colors. They put that out there. So
I thought I saw somebody break.
Tony Stewart's going to be part of the call out next weekend at Gainesville too. So
did I see somebody broke or put up a pretty good? Who's the driver that's filling in for John Force now?
That would be Jack Beckman.
No, who's the other guy then?
The Austin Prock.
Prock, yeah. I think I saw Austin Prock put up 200 and gosh, it was a crazy number. I just saw it last night.
Bradenton.
Let me pull this up real quick. I believe
a lot of those guys are down at Bradenton. Was it this weekend?
Yes, because I just saw that he broke some record last night. Let me see, or not broke a record, but had set a record. I believe they were running. God, I'm gonna 341 miles an hour. Does that sound right, Kirk Elliott?
For a funny car?
Yes.
Yeah, that's monster. That's big.
I believe that's what it is. What I here it is. Austin Brock breaks NHRA record 341, but this was last year, November 17th, 2024.
Yeah, that was towards
But
the
I
end of
thought I
last year.
saw a post of him in his car. But yeah, 341 miles an hour is that's getting it in a funny car, my friend.
Kirk, your
can't
team's
imagine.
going to play tonight, right?
Yeah, a rare Saturday night game. Usually all these games are in the afternoon, but yeah, my Cyclones, I went down to Stillwater on Tuesday, and they didn't look good. The Cowpokes beat them by
how much?
It was like 74-68 the final, but Cowboys led the whole way. Cyclones didn't play well, and they're heading into March here. They got to get some guys healthy. They play Arizona tonight at home. That's going to be a tough ball game. Last time they played Arizona, they lost on a 55-foot bomb at the buzzer to send it into overtime, which they lost. I'm a little bit nervous about that game tonight, so we'll be watching that.
All right. Track Talk has been brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. We'll see you on Monday, Mostly Motorsports. We'll see you then.
Go harder, faster, stronger with Rod End Supply. Whether you are running industrial, farming equipment, or a race car, Rod End Supply has the assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products that will help you lead the field in performance. Our superior design means our rod ends last longer and perform better, giving you the edge on the track and saving you money. Contact Rod End Supply or order online today at rodendsupply.com. We don't just sell them, we race them. rodendsupply.com. Serving the racing community for over 30 years.